Good morning. It's Sunday. Let's talk some history. Greetings and welcome to the weekly installment of Culture Cafe, outlining the literary, music, and film history for the week of July 20th. It is my hope that once a week you come away from watching and have learned at least one new thing, hopefully more. I try to cover as much as I can, from obscure to the more well-known. If you like what you see on videos, click on the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel. You have no idea how happy that makes me. This week seems a little more eventful than last week. I guess history can't be exciting all the time. Well, then again, it is for me. I love history, as you may have guessed. I am a purveyor of obscure and arcane facts. There are days, though, when I can tell you how many books a certain author wrote, and yet on the same day, I can't remember where I put my car keys. Anyway, again, thanks for watching. Before we wade into the mire of history, I would like to tell you about the sponsor for this and other Coffee Before Pants videos. The sponsor for today's Coffee Before Pants video is The Book Deal, Madison's premier place to find new and used books. With over 30,000 books in every category, you are sure to find your next book for your TBR list. I go there almost every weekend and never fail to find something to read. That's The Book Deal, 3822 Mineral Point Road in Madison, Wisconsin. They also have online shopping at thebookdeal.com. Okay, let's talk about historical events of this week. July 20th, 1933, Cormac McCarthy was born in Providence, Rhode Island. McCarthy's prose has shaped contemporary fiction with novels such as Blood Meridian, All the Pretty Horses, and the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel The Road. From what I understand, one either loves McCarthy's fiction because of its complexity of its prose, or one hates him due to the graphic violence that is part of his stories. An example of this violence would be No Country for Old Men. Cormac McCarthy died on June 13th, 2023, just short of his 90th birthday. In a Vanity Fair article from November 2024, after McCarthy died, of course, it was revealed that McCarthy had a relationship with a much younger woman by the name of Augusta Britt. McCarthy was 42 at the time, Britt was 16. Britt said that McCarthy called her his muse. This relationship has understandably tarnished his reputation as a human being. It should be noted that Augusta Britt states that she never felt she was a victim or that McCarthy was grooming her, as some have stated. Britt has stated that she actually loved McCarthy and that he was her safety. It's another example of the age-old dilemma, which I have brought up in previous podcasts. Do you judge an artist or writer on their work or because they are a terrible person? June 20th, 2001, Spirited Away, written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, is released in Japan. The Academy Award Best Animated Feature of 2003. Spirited Away follows a young girl named Chihiro Sen Ogino, who moves to a neighborhood and inadvertently enters the world of kami, spirits of Japanese Shinto folklore. After her parents are turned into pigs by the witch Yubaba, Chihiro takes a job working in Yubaba's bathhouse to find a way to free herself and her parents and return to the human world. Spirited Away was widely acclaimed and commercially successful, grossing $396 million at the worldwide box office. It became the highest grossing film in Japanese history, with a total of 31.68 billion yen, and it held that record for 19 years. Okay, speaking of authors who in real life are terrible people, July 21st, 2007, the final installment of Harry Potter series was published. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was met with extremely favorable reviews despite J.K. Rowling being a terrible person, and currently holds the Guinness World Record for most book sales in a 24-hour period. July 22nd, 1948, young adult author S.E. Hinton was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hinton became a household name when she published the groundbreaking young adult novel, The Outsiders, which everyone has read, I'm sure, which she wrote when she was only 16 years old. The Outsiders was one of the first books targeted to teens, and it is often credited for creating the young adult fiction genre. Four other young adult novels followed: Rumblefish, That Was Then, This Is Now, Tex, and Taming the Star Runner. S.E. Hinton still resides in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which is the setting of all five of the above-mentioned novels. July 22nd, 1959, Ed Wood's cult classic Plan 9 from Outer Space, often called one of the worst films ever made, premieres, starring Gregory Walcott, Vampira, whose real name was Mayla Nurmi, Cora Johnson, and Bela Lugosi. Well, kind of. Lugosi actually died during the filming. For his replacement, Ed Wood hired Tom Mason, who was Wood's wife's chiropractor. Mason was thinner and a head taller than Lugosi. Wood's solution was to have the actor, quote unquote actor, walk around holding a cape up to his face to hide his features. The film languished for years, shown only in midnight showings at small theaters, until film critic Michael Medved described it as the worst movie ever made. And that because of that, eventually the film gained cult status. I've tried several times to watch this movie, even out of morbid curiosity, and I can't sit through it. Maybe it makes me sad because Lugosi died in the middle of filming. I will also say there are worse movies than Plan 9, and I will probably cover some of them in a future podcast. July 23rd, 1888, American-British novelist and screenwriter Raymond Chandler was born in Chicago. After losing his job as an oil company executive in the Great Depression, Chandler found more time, obviously, to write, eventually publishing The Big Sleep in 1939. He wrote several more novels, including The Lady in the Lake, Farewell, My Lovely, and The Little Sister, whose main character was always Philip Marlowe, private detective, as well as short stories, which are collected in Trouble Is My Business. Chandler is credited with creating, along with Dashiell Hammett, the hard-boiled detective stock character in literature. Raymond Chandler died on March 26, 1959, at the age of 70. I have read all but one Raymond Chandler novel, and I don't have a favorite. I love them all equally. And seriously, he had a writing style that many have tried to emulate. Many have failed. No one could write like Raymond Chandler. July 24th, 1901, William Sidney Porter, known mostly by his pen name as O. Henry, was released from a 3-year prison sentence for embezzlement. It appears that while O. Henry was a brilliant writer, he was a rather careless banker, resulting in a 2-year run from the law where the author hid from the government in the Honduras. Although he served 3 years in prison, Porter continued to write under the pen name, publishing 14 stories while he was in prison. Porter was released on July 24th, 1901, for good behavior. What followed was Porter's most prolific period, beginning in 1902, when he moved to New York City to be near his publishers. While there, he wrote 381 short stories. He wrote a story a week for over a year for the New York World Sunday magazine. William Sidney Porter died on June 5th, 1910, of cirrhosis of the liver, complications of diabetes, and an enlarged heart. If you haven't read O. Henry, I recommend him. He was a great short story writer, and he is the master of the twist ending. July 25th, 1941, Emmett Till was born in Chicago. At the age of only 14, Emmett was brutally mutilated, shot, and thrown in the river for supposedly whistling at a white woman, Carolyn Bryant. His mother's insistence on an open casket opened many eyes to the brutality of Jim Crow laws and made Till a historic icon of the civil rights movement. Emmett Till has been honored in poems, songs, plays, and novels, and was likely an influence on Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. I seem to remember that Carolyn Bryant recanted her story somewhat, that Till did anything offensive to her. An editorial in the New York Times said regarding Bryant's admission that portions of her testimony were false, "This admission is a reminder of how black lives were sacrificed to white lies in places like Mississippi. It also raises anew the question of why no one was brought to justice in the most notorious racially motivated murder of the 20th century, despite an extensive investigation by the FBI. July 26, 1856, playwright George Bernard Shaw, who really wanted to be called only Bernard Shaw, was born in Dublin. In his lifetime, Shaw wrote over 60 plays and earned the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1925. His plays include St. Joan, Arms and the Man, and most famously, Pygmalion, which is the basis for the musical and film My Fair Lady. July 26, 1943 marks the birthday of Mick Jagger, singer, songwriter, lead singer, and a founding member of who else? The Rolling Stones. Jagger has co-written most of the band's songs with lead guitarist Keith Richards. Their songwriting partnership is one of the most successful in rock music history. Early in his career, Jagger gained notoriety for his romantic involvement and illicit drug use, and has often been portrayed as a countercultural figure. 82 years old, and he is still touring with the Stones. I hope I have that much energy when I reach 82 years old. You have been watching Culture Cafe. I think that about wraps it up for now. I will, as usual, be back next Sunday with more historical tidbits and obscure facts. Once again, if you like what I bring, please hit the like button. If you wish to be notified when I post new videos, please subscribe to the channel. And as usual, please support your local independent bookstore and your public library. Until next week, see you later.